Hey, what's going on, guys? It's going to be Donnie coming to you from the Sileightymania Pinku style podcast. I got with me two important people. I'll get right into it and everything. I'm really excited to talk to these guys. I have here Benson and Nadine Hsu. You guys remember when this is 150 episode 152. So when I started the podcast, I initially said I wanted to get within the first 100 podcasts, I want to get the people on here that really influenced me to do what I'm doing in my life today, my motorsports and my shopping and all that stuff. And in that course, I got off course and I started talking to anybody. It didn't really matter. But as I was saying offline, Matt still brought up the Sileightymania Podcast. And of course, I knew about these guys and everything because, again, on both of you guys, and I'll give you your praise right now. Both of you guys from Benson, seeing Benson for the first time in the driver's search in 2003. The very first time I seen Benson, I was like, oh, dude, this is crazy. And like drifting is kicking off. And then shortly after that, of course, we all, you guys kind of came at the same time, all together. And my guys and us being predominantly males, we seen this very attractive woman drifting. Like, who is this girl? And it's like, it's Nadine Hsu. And then we didn't know that you guys were married. We just seen separate things. And around 2001, I started seeing drifting, Koguchi-san and all that stuff like that. And then, of course, I started seeing you guys who, to me, were the very first Americans that I seen drifting. So, thank you for my life. I owe it to you guys and a lot of the people. And again, I know you guys probably heard a bunch from some of the guys that are older, but it's definitely a true thing, and it's definitely not BS. You guys definitely or influence, and everybody out there who benefit from Pinku style, from my business, from me, from my knowledge and all that stuff, I owe it to, again, these guys right here and other people that pioneered the drifting and coming up. So yeah, giving you guys your flowers and all that stuff. So that's pretty much the introduction. And again, thank you guys for your time.
Oh, thank you, Donald. That was
really nice of you to
so
say,
touching.
Donald. Thank you.
Jeez.
But
what a way to start off.
Yeah.
I like this. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. We just happened to be around at the right time. We were inspired from Japan, just like you were, and we kind of just wanted to do what they were doing, and that's how the culture starts, right?
Yeah.
It's gotta start somewhere. We weren't the first. It was Japan. We were just trying to do what they were doing.
Yeah, it's crazy that we weren't the first, but now it's like, now you see it. We'll get into it a little bit later, like the whole form of drift stuff and how it is evolved from Japan. And now Japan is seemingly trying to like almost remind people like, hey guys, we started this and everything, but now it's blown up in Europe and New Zealand. Yeah. And it's kind of cultural as to why, and we'll definitely probably talk about that later, as to why it kind of went that way, where Japan kind of stayed where they were and it kind of plateaued, and America and FD took over, and now they're like, running things and stuff as far as power and driving technique and like all that stuff and everything. But before we get into that stuff again, I'm gonna have to go with Nadine first because she's the woman here and
ladies first
and everything. So
thank you.
Again,
thank you.
Again, just a little bit for everybody who's around 35, they all know who you guys are. But for the people who are on my channel who maybe be like 15, 16, they don't probably know because young ones don't really go back in history. And I hate to say, like, we're not history, we're still living. But it's like we're
just old.
Yeah, we're old. So you guys are about maybe 3 to 4 years ahead of me, and then I'm 39, and so it was like a little bit. So I was right after you guys and everything. So I feel it a little bit when guys say OG and all that stuff. So, but Nadine, like my thing, I always ask my guests, like, what got you into cars? And again, same question to go for Benson. What got you into cars, and what was like that initial spark for you that got you into vehicles and motorsports?
I gotta say, my dad reading F1 magazines on the toilet, like, leaving the magazines on the toilet when I was like 8 years old,
right? And
I would just sit on the toilet and look at the magazines too. And then I didn't really know what I was looking at, and he would watch F1, and it kind of just grew on me. And then later, my friends in high school would go to the street races and go drag, and I was super inspired seeing this one girl out there dragging, and so from then on, I was kind of like, my goal was to like get myself out there and be like her.
Mhm.
So I initially thought I was going to be a drag racer.
Yeah.
And what's really funny is I started drag racing in my 240.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like drag racing kind of is everybody. I started from Honda and everything and drag racing.
Yeah.
And then drifting came along because it was like, dude, I can't afford it. At the time, 10 seconds, it was like, that was it. And, Papadakis was building all these crazy CRXs and EGs and EKs. And like, dude, that's a lot of money. And drifting was just like put tires on and go spin around and everything. So, and around what year, Nadine, was that, like your that time frame when you got into the drag scene and stuff like that?
You're going to date me.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
here we go. 94, 93. Ooh, I'm not gonna go any earlier than that. I'm gonna say
Cool.
1993.
93.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's definitely OG. We'll just say OG. We're in the OG age. So. And Benson, what about you? What was the first spark for you that got you into like spending money on cars?
I mean, I guess like I got into cars before I could actually spend money on cars,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it was in high school. In high school, people started fixing up their Japanese cars, and that was kind of like, the cool thing to do, right? Like, you see a car in the parking lot in Accord with clear corners,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd be like, oh, that car's fixed up,
yeah.
And it just had clear corners, right? So like that was kind of like a cultural thing. It was mostly just the Asians at my school that were doing it, and so it was kind of like something that was cool, that was Asian,
Mm-hmm.
that we could be proud of. So I got into it because of that, and so I started being interested in cars, but it was very superficial. So like it'd be like, oh, that car's got racing stripes on it, or that guy's got clear taillights or whatever, right? Or it's got a muffler. It didn't matter what kind of like junky Japanese car it was, but if it had mufflers, like that was cool, right?
Right.
So in other words, you were a racer. You're like an undercover racer.
Yeah. Yeah, I was for sure. I just wanted to be like unique, right? You want to stand out in high school. So, but that kind of caught my eye, and around then, like the Honda scene was really big, drag racing and car shows. So I started going to car shows and stuff, and I had a group of friends that were big into drag racing and big into the car shows, and they were all Nissan guys, which was cool because they were like really into Nissans while Hondas were huge.
Yeah.
So they kind of introduced me to the S13, S14. They introduced me to SR20s, and they were one of the only shops doing SR20 swaps.
Yeah.
And so around then, I was like I gotta get an S13. I gotta do an SR swap, But it was the same for me as it was for you when you realized like I don't have the money to compete with these guys, right? On the car show circuit, doing drag racing, like. They were running 12s with the SR20 in like, I don't know, like 96. So I was like, I can't compete with that.
Yeah.
So I found drifting, and I was like, drifting's the way. Like it's not about how much money you spend on your car.
At that time.
It's at that time, right? There was no pro drifting yet. But like it was your skill. It was how good you were at driving your car, and you didn't need a whole lot of money. You just needed a few things, and then that's just dedication from there. So I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Pinku style PS01TS coilovers. These are the first coilovers available by Pinku style. These are for track and street. Coilovers are going to work for guys who are going to look to tackle the street. You're going to look to tackle the toll gate in a legal way. 32-way adjustable. You have dampening control. You have camera control. Optional for some cars. It's a very smooth process. If something happens, it will honor the 1-year warranty. Pinku style PS01TS. Ready to order right now. See you guys later. Peace.
And that makes a lot of sense too, because a lot of times when again the drag stuff, I think drag was in America. That's the whole what we call zero yawn here, but the whole quarter mile and all that stuff. I mean, that was predicated the whole muscle car and things. So essentially, we did what we seen the muscle car guys doing, but we just had Civics and Toyota. Well, mainly Civics at that time because I was like my gateway drug. My first swaps was EFs and EGs and stuff like that and drag. So my first I want to say like the first 5 years of like anything was just straight street racing and drag racing because at that time I seen drifting, but I didn't get my 240 in 2003. So it was just drag racing. So and it just to me honestly got boring. It was like you go straight, you go straight. So unless you have a high power car, it just didn't seem tangible to take money and intake and exhaust. Put your Civic in like 14s, and that was like respectable back then. But yeah, it just drifting to me. I was the first guy in my crew. That was back when you had teams and DVDs and stuff like that. And I was the first drifter in my crew and everything. And guys really kind of like made fun of me because I had open diff and only one wheel was spin and everything. And I'd be there on the races. To me in the car, I thought I was doing like, the sickest figure eights ever. Yeah. And it was this one wheel pilling. And the guys was looking at me like, this dude's a clown. And,
back in like 2002, 2003, we didn't get any respect from the other serious racers, man.
Yeah, it was cool. In my car, it definitely did look like crap for a long time. I didn't have no choice until when I got some cash after my first deployment in Iraq. I kind of started putting money into the car and everything. But that's besides the fact, man. But again, like one thing I definitely want to ask you about personally because I have you here and then Nadine as well. Like, what did it feel like? What was your feeling when you completed like your first real drift, like your first real figure eight or linked, or you linked a few corners? What was that feeling like for you?
Who do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm still thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. You think about it while I answer. So like I tried a lot.
Yeah.
I tried when I was open diff. I tried when I got my my LSD, my cause LSD for the first time. And so your question is the first time that I'm actually thinking about like what my first drift was.
Yeah.
And so like
that's a heavy hitter.
My donuts, I don't consider my donuts and figure eights my first drift. Like I got pretty good at donuts. I was pretty good at figure eights, but like I don't know, people on rap videos are doing donuts.
Yeah.
People, like people on NASCAR are doing donuts. I didn't really consider that drifting.
Right.
So I think the first drift that I did was at Toge, and I was like, there was just this, like we would go up there for grip racing all the time.
Right.
And when we started getting brave enough, we were trying to do drifting up there. And so there was this one corner and I would grip it all the time. And I was just like, I'm going to try it here. Right. And I did. And I started before the corner, you start drifting before the corner, and I made it all the way through, and it was like second gear. And I was like, dude, I don't remember if I was by myself, but I was like, I need to tell everyone and show everyone what I can do on this corner now. Right. And so I remember like bringing up Nadine, bringing up like all of our friends, and like they brought cameras and stuff. And I actually got that corner on video.
Yeah.
But like that was the most wild thing ever for me.
Yeah.
Like, very, very like vivid memories of that day.
Yeah, we did a lot up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it was very different because I started out when I got my 240, it was auto, and it was open diff auto KA, and that was always I was like, I can't drift until I get all this worked out. So then I swapped over to an SR and manual in 02. And yeah, like that's when it kind of started for me. And finally we had drift day going on. So I got to run my car at drift day and do a proper, like, go do the skid pad. And for me, drifting was the donuts, because that was the beginning of me trying to get my car to slide, like on purpose. So I kind of lived at the skid pad for like a good year. And finally I got the donuts, but it took me a freaking year because I was
Yeah.
such a head case.
Yeah.
And like I remember sliding and I was hungry. I was like, okay, I gotta do this more. Like more. And we'd go like every freaking month.
Right.
And then we got sponsored by Yokohama like instantly when we didn't even know how to drift. Like we weren't even
It was a
good.
good. That was the time. Like there's always the, like being in something when it first kicks off. I correlated kind of to like snowboarding when snowboarding came in and like the skiers were like, get out of here. Kind of like, you know, I watched a podcast and I died laughing because when I did my first autocross, dude, it was about 60 cars there and they singled me out like, hey dude, don't slide. Like I was on, I had a blue S13 with gold wheels, so it really stood out. It was a Megan dual muffler is loud. It was before it was turbo, and a dude came over to me, and I did kind of hang it out, not purposely, but I kind of slid out and hit some cones. And he's like, hey man, we told you not to drift, and they gave me a warning. And then they gave me extra duty, so I had to watch I had to do the course, you know, to pick up the cones and set all that stuff back up.
That's cruel.
They hated us, man. Like right, I'm sure right when you rolled up to that autocross, they were like, "Watch out for that guy. He's gonna drift."
They actually failed me on tech. And it was I had a loose ball joint, and they figured, oh, he'll fail tech and that's it. And I was like, all right, cool. We went to AutoZone, got a ball joint, swapped it out, did alignment in the parking lot. I was like, dude, drifters, we're different. Like we're not gonna quit. And he's like, okay.
We got the grit.
Yeah, so I missed the first heat and everything, but yeah, I was dying laughing at the autocross and I actually became they came to respect me because I didn't I learned the ways, and I kind of dialed it down and all that stuff like that. But it was pretty crazy. But and then Nadine, for you, not only like the whole like starting drifting and everything at that time, was there any other than you? Were there any other female drifters or drag racers around you at all at that time when you first started out?
I think for drag there may have been, professionally there might have been, but I was more focused on drifting at that time. And so me and one girl, Yoshie Shuyama, that's it. We were the only two always. Right. And we were like the two musketeers, not the three, the two. Right. And we would just be together at the skid pad trying to work it out all the time. Right. So
and with that, and for the guys again, for the noobs out here or the young guys don't know, again, Nadine also started Drifting Pretty. So if you've seen Drifting Pretty around, of course, you go crazy on that. This is our the Instagram. You can check it out. And also like it's kind of cool progression in life. Just like the excerpt says, there's like pretty much a bunch of drift women who now are their moms, entrepreneurs, and things like that. In life, it changes. We don't forget drifting, but now, myself, I have 5 kids and a wife, so I'm going drifting tomorrow, but at the same time, I got to make sure the kids are cool, and I take the boys with me to make sure she can't. She has 5 kids alone. It's kind of it's kind of my fault too. That I made them and everything, but yeah,
takes 2.
Yeah. But they're all like my kids are oldest is 6 and my youngest they're 1. I got 2 twin girls.
Oh my god,
you've been busy, man.
You've been busy.
Yeah, I didn't mean to, just kind of happened a little bit, but
it just happens. Yeah, we know.
We're retired now, and everything is good to go on that thing. But for Nadine, again, kind of giving Nadine her praise. I have to say, like, you're the first female woman drifter in America. I mean, that's definitely it has to be. I mean, until recent time where, like, again, I think Kelsey Rollins is in FD, and then the Sorensens, Amanda, and so a lot of young girls are seeing them and they want to get into drifting now. So it's pretty cool. And the nice thing about drifting, it doesn't matter. Like, everybody's strong enough to push the pedal, so it's not like you got to be a ultra marathon runner or a bodybuilder to push the pedal and go fast. You just push it.
Agreed.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool there. But running the videos in the background again is again, guys, you can check them out on them. I'm just I should have did this in the beginning, but again, you guys can see there all that stuff on Sileightymania for the Instagram. For Nadine, it's going to be Drift Queen, and it also is going to be Drifting Pretty. I'll put all the stuff down at the bottom so you guys don't got to click on it for the lazy guys that don't want to type out there. For the YouTube, it's going to be Sileightymania Podcast, which you can check all the great podcasts out. For the older guys, trust me, I was on a road driving to Osaka, just smiling ear to ear, because it's like I know a lot. I know pretty much everybody they're talking about, and I met half all the guys, and I was growing up around that time. I was coming up, man. So those stories and hearing the backstories before social media, and like I really like the part of you guys' podcast where you touch on like there's a lot that was never documented because there was no cameras back then, there was no cell phones, so there's a lot that happened. Some things shouldn't probably is better as one documented. You know, everything is not for online and
right.
But yeah, man, it's like you guys have you're pioneers, man. And what I really respect the most, and I'm pretty sure everybody else says it again, is being pioneers and also being nice people and not being like jerks. Because some people get a little bit of, you know, exposure. Again, Nadine's been working with, you know, Fast and Furious and things like that, and we talk about that a little bit. And you got books coming out, which you want to talk about, a book for Nadine, and then different things. You guys have been in the scene. And some people get a little bit of notoriety and their heads blow up and they do a figure eight and they want a contract to drift for Falcon. It's like, dude, relax, dude. Like, relax.
Yeah.
So
no, you gotta stay humble. Yeah. There's, you know, no matter how good you are, there's always going to be someone better than you. You know, and that's no way of setting an example to the people coming up, right? Like be nice to everyone, and kind of you know, encourage people to keep passing the knowledge down. Right.
Because the cool thing about it now too is like with the social, because I kind of harp on social media a bunch. I mean, technology is great. Again, it allows me to talk to you right now almost 2 a.m. here in Japan, and I use it for the positive portions of it. And I think there's so much stuff now, negativity, not only drifting but all motorsports, because the social media with the younger crowd, they're thirsty for likes and subscribers and all that crap, where they think it has meaning on life, when at the end of the day it doesn't. And we know better than that because we're older. Mm-hmm. But then even I see some older people kind of get caught up in that whole chasing the likes and subscribers and the drama online. I'm like, dude, like, just focus on your family, your life, and your friends and people you make. And for me personally, I just try to build upon those relationships I have and the meaningful ones I'll make. And trying to please everybody out there is not going to work. So that the whole social media crap out there kind of, you know, do that. And while we speaking on that, how do you think the social media has affected drifting culture, if at all?
Yeah, that's a good one. I feel like if we had what we have today, it would have grown even quicker back in the day, right? Like, maybe our drift spots would have got busted sooner, or maybe more people would have understood what drifting's all about better sooner. I mean, and then sponsorships will be way different. Yeah. Because when I was applying for sponsorships, I would send in my deck like with paper in a folder and like go meet with people. And now you can Zoom, you can send a PDF, and like we just didn't have that back then. Right. We would just have to go to SEMA and like go to all the booths and try to find sponsors and like, you know, call people on the telephone. And now you just like click a button, right?
You can't, like, now you just find Falcon and like send them a DM, right? You can't do that before.
It's oversaturated. Like a certain thing, and I got my pro license. I thought I needed the car to drive with Daigo and all these guys. And when I got the car, it was like I didn't feel like an A-list celebrity or nothing like that. It was just like, cool, dude, you can drive with us. Yeah, I got videos online. You guys check it out about the sponsor stuff out there who watch and listen for the first time, and my thoughts on it and my personal experience. Just sponsor yourself and then drive, and then people will see you and they'll do all that stuff and everything. So that's what I think on it and everything. So
yeah, amen on that. And to add, like, with my sponsorships, I've always had a lot of sponsorships, and then I realized over the years that it was not. I shouldn't have tried to go get sponsored a $500 part. Yeah. I should have went for the money. Right. And so towards the end, like, I got an agent and I realized I need funding so I can ship my car out to, you know, Texas for the next race or whatever. And when I changed that kind of my trajectory, it was different when I was just thinking bigger picture. Right. And so like, once you feel like you're at that level, the competitive level, like, finding the endorsements, finding the brands that you can be an ambassador for, like thinking big, like that was that was a game changer for me. And then then I did Formula Drift. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it anymore.
Yeah, then
like you hit that pinnacle, right?
Yeah.
And then,
yeah, and then for Benson, like, so Benson, you went right from the 2003 Arendelle driver search, and then pretty much from there, did you immediately start getting into the pro stuff? 'Cause I know you did like you were like one of the first guys in FD and all that stuff. So how was that transition from that driver search to getting into the pro rank? So I should say actually, the driver search gave you the what credentials did you get from the driver search?
So right, the driver search was in 2003. That's when I got my D1 license.
Right. Okay.
And that was an interesting time because we were all like young and we were all grassroots guys, right?
And then we had hair, man.
Yeah, I had hair. I had hair. But yeah, like it went from like us just having fun to all of a sudden like D1 is on US shores, right? And Formula D, Slipstream is trying to start Formula D. So it went very quickly from like this hobby we all had to like these big companies asking like, well, how serious are you about this? Right? Like, what are you willing to put on the line to be part of what we're doing? Right. So then we were faced with like, oh, okay, well, all of our the cars that we were drifting in were our street cars. So it's like, you got to turn your street car into a race car. You got to like, now you have to, get this, well, D1 didn't do it, but like Formula D was like, you need to have a cage that meets our specifications. And none of us, we all had like the Cuscos and the safety 21s, right? So now you had to get this, and then you have to buy a racing suit. Like I got to spend $1,000 on a racing suit. Like I don't even want to wear it ever, right? Like it's so like it was all these things that was really testing like how far we were willing to go, and people were getting sponsorships. People were like finding a ride with another company where the company would just build the race car for them and they just go drive. And so I kind of like resisted all of that. I think I've always been like a street guy at heart. And so like I straight up drove my car to the transport to go to Atlanta for Formula D. So, and that was my daily driver. So like I had to find another car to drive around because that's the car I drive to work. Right. And then our audio guy from the podcast, he always likes to tell this story. When we were in Atlanta and we were, they had the driver signing autographs. He was going through my car and he like, I left all this stuff in it because of my daily driver. So like he pulled out my checkbook and stuff and like tried to make me sign a blank check because he thought I wasn't looking or, but like that, those were really interesting times. And it was wild going from just like this, these guys that were just having fun to like, oh, we're supposed to be pro now.
Right.
We were learning as we were going, like, oh, you got to keep your racing suit on when you're walking around the pits because it has your sponsor logos on it. You can't just like, it's hot. You want to like unzip and just let the top down, but they're like, no, you got to do certain things that make you professional. But it was really wild too that we were pro before we had the skills to be pro. I feel like. And there were a couple of instances where we gave some of the Japanese guys a run for their money, but we were so far behind them. But I guess you got to start from somewhere. So, but that was really interesting. Formula D, I didn't need to get a license. I mean, I had a license, but like they didn't have like a qualifying event for that. They kind of just knew who should be in it, and then they just let us drive.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense for us to like license stuff because I mean, of course, D1 anything at that time, like hey, do you come right in, dude? Like you can come right in. Then like I seen it was the same thing too when like I think Mike Pollard and I think Mordaunt went over to I think they did a round of I want to say Fuji, and it was because they had the license in America and they were doing a trade. So it was like, hey, dude, if you got FD equivalent over here, you guys can walk in and transfer over and things like that. And with that too, I wanted to well, next question on that is just kind of once it started becoming like pro, did that kind of start taking the fun out of it for you guys?
For sure.
Hell yeah.
We both had the same experience with that.
Yeah, because it's not, when you go to an event, like for somebody really nice like Benson, right? Like I'm nice too, but Benson's way more humble than I am.
Yeah.
And we would sponsors would give him money to cover him to ship the car to, say, Atlanta, right? Maybe in Atlanta he would spin out, he would maybe not qualify or whatever. I don't remember how you did, but like that would constantly be weighing on our shoulders. Like, oh crap, like I gotta make sure I qualify, I gotta make sure I get like top 16, because you're letting these people down who sent you all these money in parts. And then I'm just like, man, where's the fun in that? Like, because no one's good under pressure.
Yeah, because you're sitting at the line in the hot car, like, dude, and you're thinking about the apex, and that right there is like, you're already kind of, it's not that you can't do it, it's like you're thinking about what you shouldn't be thinking about. And like that's
a big mental game for sure.
You're just like, the car is running, the car is getting hot, and you're just like, dude, I gotta nail it, and you just do totally opposite. And
sure.
I mean, I really liked the competition, because that was like that is where you'll get the best competition in the US, right? At these pro events. And so I loved that challenge, and I really loved that side of it. But I didn't love the outside stuff, like hitting up sponsors and like Nadine said, I try and be really humble. And so like that doesn't jive with me reaching out to this company and be like, yo, I am like this really great driver. You should sponsor me. Like those two are different personalities, right? And so I really hated when I had to do that stuff, because it just, I felt like a phony, right? Saying stuff like that.
Yeah. So you're cutting like a wrestling promo, like you're
yes.
Also, to add on that, you have to remember to have fun, right? Because you have to remember, you said it, like, remember why you got into it, and it's to have a good time, right? And at the end of the day, if whatever results you get, even if it's bad, you walk away having fun, right? So
if you've been watching Pinku Style for a bunch on YouTube, I've been in Japan for about 16 years. One of the most challenging things when you come to a foreign country is getting control somehow on a local language. That way you can communicate effectively, make more money, do business, and all that stuff like that. When you go to a Japanese speaker Japanese, you don't read the book. You speak to a person face to face. It's going to be Japan Language Factory, JLF. Run by Terumi Kai. I've been partnered with Terumi Kai for about now 2 months. If you want to go ahead and learn Japanese, definitely get over to JapanLanguageFactory.com. Check out the site, see what they got to offer. You'll get a free consultation when you sign up, and after that, you can kind of determine your program and things like that. If the programming course is 2 months, and what you're going to do is you're going to learn how to effectively communicate using the things that you like to do. For example, if you're into cars, they can talk about cars. If you're into bowling, they can talk about bowling, and center your lessons around stuff that you're interested in, versus trying to learn about, let's say, banking if you're not into banking. Right? So there's about 2,000 Japanese letters. There's over 500,000 Japanese words and phrases. And if you try to learn all of them at the same time, you're going to spin your wheels. And at the same time, you guys know out there, kids, when kids grow up, they speak Japanese. They don't go to school. They just speak Japanese naturally from what they hear. So it is possible for us out there to learn different phrases, learn Japanese properly, and apply yourselves in a fashion that you're actually going to learn Japanese the way you want to learn Japanese. So again, that's going to be JLF. Check them out. You're going to enter code Pinku Style JLF. That's, again, Pinku Style JLF when you sign up. And that will help out the podcast, and that will actually get you learning Japanese quicker. So again, check out JapanLanguageFactory.com. Terumi Kai, and you guys will be learning Japanese in no time. Peace. Having fun, and also knowing, like, putting it to perspective, I just did a podcast earlier today with my guy, and I was like, dude, I'm sitting in my garage surrounded by skylines and Sylvias and everything. And it's just me in my garage, and I'm like, the shutter's halfway down. And I'm just like sitting on the shot because I got all the stuff to process, all the stuff I want to do. And for that, I just 5 minutes of this reflection. And then towards the end, I'm like, not a pity party, but towards the end, I'm like, all right, I got to get this done. And I'm like, dude. Then I look over, I got this Sylvia right here with RB26. I got my 33, all this stuff. I'm like, dude, there's people out there that would like literally kill for all this stuff. Like, just refocus, appreciate what you have currently. Because I will say, man, I want this and I want that and I want this kind of stuff and blah, blah, blah. And it's hard to not do that from a shop here in Japan. I'm like, dude, I'm in Japan with all these cars. Relax, chill out, like just be grateful and you know, and talking to you guys, talking to some of my other buddies, it helps to refocus. And for me personally, podcasts are right there pretty because I'm alone. I run a shop alone and everything, and I don't have any assistants, stuff like that. So it kind of is me in my mind all day, which is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Mentally and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
So it's all. But kind of, I want to change gears a little bit because I know you guys, you know, drifting is cool, man. But we all parents and stuff like that. Nadine, I got something for you right here. The video I got paused. So I watch your podcast a bunch, and you guys talk about the dumbest thing you've done. So check this out real quick right here. This video right here, I did it about maybe 2003 in college with a Dremel.
Yeah, this is Donnie from Midnight Riders. I know you're not supposed to cut your springs, but today I had to cut my springs.
2003.
MK1 suspension
Yes.
casing. Found a deal on it, so I don't really care.
That was way smaller back then.
Springs are right there.
This is in the dorm park. In the dorm.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Oh yeah.
On the carpet.
Hey, I like you're wearing safety glasses. There's a spring. There's a spring on the loose. You
Oh.
gotta wear those safety glasses.
The way I got the spring out was I put it against a wall and took out the nut and it just exploded. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so this is
No.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's,
Nice.
Yeah.
man, that's weak. That's weak. Did you cut off one coil? Did you cut
Yeah.
off one coil?
Yeah, because I didn't want to.
Don't you know the formula for the dopest?
You got to cut 2, 3,
No. Half.
half. No, if I
Half of the whole thing, bro.
Oh, that's
half.
I would have cut half of it. That thing I couldn't turn the wheel because I cut the front and then I cut the rear, and I figured like you measure, but I didn't at that time I didn't know like, you know, where your springs compress and so the rear. I'm like, dude, I'm not going back in there. So it popped out one time, and so what I do actually, I went to Home Depot and got the little C clamps, and that's how I helped the spring from popping out every time. So yeah, that was So
you kept the C clamps on the suspension while you're driving it.
The bottom part, because you see, I mean, how the spring like kind of like it wouldn't sit down.
Right.
So
right.
when I hit a bump, it would just pop out, and then
You had C clamps on.
yes,
Good. That's
yeah,
good.
so
That's good.
And then
I love
That's a
me
good
some.
one.
I love
That's a
me
good
some
one.
cut springs.
welded diff,
Don't.
welded diff.
I love it.
Yeah, so when they give you crap about the cut springs, I just die laughing every time. He's like, yeah, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
It was no, I met Charlie after that. Charlie was one of the guys from Hey Man, where Robbie and Shinji and all those guys, and I met crazy. Luck is I kind of, you know, I sometimes say I don't believe in luck and fate and stuff like that. But when I joined the military, I went to my first base, Andrews Air Force Base, and lo and behold, Charlie of Hey Man works there at Andrews.
Wow.
So I meet all these guys, and then I just
like in the option videos,
you gotta see,
right?
Dude, but seriously, I'm like, dude, it was 6 Hachiroku. No, I was exaggerating. It was 3. It was 3 Hachirokus at a gas station. I'm like, dude, what is this about? And I go in there, and it's this Filipino dude there, and he very humble. He never mentioned nothing about option. He never mentioned nothing about Dory 10. Never mentioned nothing about anything in Japan. Just, I'm Charlie. Hey, I drift, and he would give me tires. And then like about a year later, like, dude, I'm watching the option video, and it's Charlie drifting in the mountain. I'm like, dude, like that's you. He's like, yeah, man. I'm like, you never thought to say that was you? He's like, yeah, it didn't matter, dude. And I was like, you know, so I had Charlie, and then watching you guys, it just I was like, man, once if I get some cool cars, I'm gonna remain the same, and I am. I'm the same guy, and I don't correlate the car power and aero to my personality, and some people can't control that, and as a result, Benson, you posted the other day about the car thing. I do not like car shows at all. The bench racing and the what I think my car can do, and let's take it to the track, dude. And I guarantee you, I'll blow all your couplers off because you don't have any bead rollers, and you got a plastic radiator and all this other stuff. So I respect the car show guys, but I'd rather do a car show when we cool my cars down from a session, and then we got a cool car show with active cars. But
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's not my scene. I can't.
Yeah, Donald, like I love me some car shows,
Yeah.
and I was always trying to win car shows.
Yeah, I know.
But I also love driving,
right.
And so I would struggle hard at the car shows because my car is a real, like a real car that you actually drive. And so the judges would like give me crap all the time. And I'm like, dude, but I use this car. I should get points. Like I should get extra points.
Yeah.
Or, you know, they have the categories, right? This like exterior, engine bay, you know, all the categories.
Yeah.
And then when it got to like because they need to you need to have for a good car show or a good car show car, you have to have the audio system, right?
Right.
It's a drift car. Like there's no radio in there.
Right. Literally had nothing.
So like she just got 0, and we're like, what's up with that? You know?
Yeah.
So
I should get points for having an LSD. So just switch it, you know.
Yeah. And then the car
audio, but an LSD.
You got actual like, you know, functional. So it's like when you see a car like it's got like a little scratch on it to scrape. It's like it's not like smash. It's like an actual like it looks like it's been used. Like it's just it's it's a thing you back because it is good. It is great promotion and it is networking, but those guys spend a lot of money in those audio systems and the fiberglass. Dude, that's a Hollinger transmission in the audio system right there. I can buy like a Doug box, and so, but you know, we all do different things. And drag racers like, dude, you guys are wasting tires and time attack guys. So I have for me, I do time attack as well, and pretty decent. And I'm getting into rally, for marketing. In Japanese, where I'm at, the Japanese are very singular minded, and that's what I was kind of talking about the D1 stuff, where FD kept progressing and adding live stream and I talked to Suzuki at D1. I'm like, dude, DVDs, I'm not buying them anymore. You guys are like 2 months behind on the results,
right?
And so they got the live stream. I want to say that I kind of helped them to get that, and they're doing well on the live stream, but they still use fax machine today. And I'm like, dude, I got a fax machine.
I remember having to fax in my application to do the D1 driver search.
Yeah. And I'm like, they don't know how to email. It's like, it's like, I love Japan, but I'm American too. And they very singular minded in the aspect of like, no, you can only drift. You can only do this. And like, you know, Tsuchiya and Narito and Taniguchi are like the outliers where they're the selected few that can do. I'm like, nah, dude, it's just a mindset. Apex are the same. One is you're just exceeding the coefficient of friction, and the other one you're trying not to. And so they like, oh, you can't be a time attack, you can't be a drifter, you can't do rally. I'm like, dude, just watch. And so I make a lot of friends that way because I got drift buddies, time attack buddies, rally buddies. Not really nobody drag racing is really that's really like. Nobody really does that here. It's a small amount, but the guys who do it, they're like monster cars. They're like 7 seconds, 6 seconds.
Super into it. Yeah.
They're dedicated. But Nadine, I want to ask you about the. I read on your profile a little bit about the book and everything. So could you speak a little bit about the book and like when it's going to release and everything? Because I definitely would like to get it for my girls. Because I got 3 girls.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my book. I'm actually starting a book series called Sachiko Goes Racing, and Sachiko is my Japanese name. Right. And it's basically a book about a little girl who dreams about drifting. And then she gets enough guts to actually go drifting. And so the series is it's pretty tightly based on my experiences in drifting and my journey. Right. And so every book is just going to kind of be a true story about my experiences being a little girl drifting. Right. So that book drops October 28th of 2022.
Awesome.
I'm really excited. It's in print right now. I am just wrapping book 2, writing that, and I just signed with the illustrator again for book 2. So I hope to drop book 2 in January as well. So awesome, gotta roll with this book series.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
Let everyone know like the message.
I mean, the book it's to show children that little girls can dream about becoming race car drivers and actually become race car drivers, and it's a normal thing,
right?
You know, it's like a book about a little girl who wants to be an astronaut or a doctor, why can't there be books about girls who want to be race car drivers?
Right.
Because that's just another dream that we dream about, and it's a normal thing. So it's not just for the little girls, it's for the little boys and adults alike, just to understand that we have to welcome this occupation in as a social norm now, because this is true stuff. Like this happened, and this happened a long time ago, like back in the early 2000s. Okay, so and why does it take 20 years for me to tell you it's normal? So
it's kind of crazy now, like now that, you know, again, we have kids, and, you know, to see the kids, you know, and your girls, have they, you know, shown interest in motorsports, or are they, like, you know, they can name cars and things like that, or are they no interest at all?
So it's my oldest daughter. I pushed her and I said, oh, you know, I want you to come go-karting with us. And I took her to the go-kart place when she was maybe like 14 or something. And it backfired. And she got all claustrophobic in the helmet, and I made her run. And she's like, I hate that. Don't ever make me do that again. And she was like having this situation. And I'm like, oh, too soon, too hard. My bad. So then I took a different approach with the others. And so it's more like they see our lifestyle. They know that they name the cars. They know we race. They tell their teachers at school, like, yeah, my mom and dad race. Like, so what?
Like it's a normal thing.
It's a normal thing to them. And I love that. And I don't ever say, you need to become a race car driver. I need to take you training. Like I'm kind of right now just building the foundation that it's normal in their life. And then I think when it's time, it'll be time, and they'll at least be one, and my hope. But I'm not going to push them. I'm going to make their own decision. But I mean, they definitely are aware of cars and say that, like, oh, I saw that. And they'll looking down the street, they'll be like, did you see that car? And
it's in their blood.
Yeah, it's in their blood. So we're taking that approach.
Yeah. I didn't tell you, but our 8-year-old Sabine, and, you know, we named Sabine partly because of Sabine Schmidt. Right.
She's a Nürburgring driver.
Yeah.
Peace.
She recently, just out of the blue, she downloaded a racing game on her tablet.
That's right.
And like the past couple days,
building cars.
She's like racing cars. She's like, "What is this, Dad?" I'm like, "Oh, this is for your engine upgrade. It makes your car faster." She's like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Should I buy this Lotus?" I'm like, "Wow, you know what a Lotus is?" So, you know, maybe it's there. I don't know.
Maybe that's the one then. You know, we don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see. But I'm excited. There's gonna be at least one.
That's definitely it's definitely with the kids and everything. For me, it's kind of cool to. It's weird to see your kid like this. I'm weird. I'm every day after work, and I think I spent 3 years in Iraq and everything, so I really internalize things a lot daily. PTA. I don't want to get into the whole PTSD stuff, but it definitely I experienced, like, you know, getting shot at and IEDs and crazy stuff, and so I buy, like, you know, my wife, she kind of gets mad at me because I'll come home every, like, once a week or every other week. I'll have, like, cars and stuff like that. And my reasoning behind it is, like, you know, when I grew up, we weren't, like, you know, we didn't have everything we wanted, but, you know, we had to wait for birthdays and Christmas and holidays and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, I work hard enough that I can buy them you know, Hot Wheels. It's like $7 to buy like 24 Hot Wheels or something like that. And I bring them cars and everything, and she kind of like, oh, you should wait and do this. And they got go-karts, they got dirt bikes. And like, dude, like, I don't want to get morbid, but like life is, you know, fragile, life is short, and I want to enjoy it while we're here and give them the most. And for me, I do these podcasts too. I feel great. I'm healthy. I work out. I do martial arts, judo, jiu-jitsu, and all that stuff like that. But if something happens and I'm not here, they have 700 plus videos to go back and watch and see how their father was, and then see how my father's friends and things like that, and they can get to know me and everything. So that's the cool thing about the stuff now. And then with the kids and everything, I see them doing certain things and emulating certain things, and they know engine codes and cars, and I'm like, dude, I didn't really teach them any of this stuff. They just like RX-7 or 240 or whatever, or S13, and it's just pretty cool. And now they riding dirt bikes, and it's like they're going fast. I'm like, dude, I'm cool, I'm happy, but I'm like, if he falls, he's probably gonna break his wrist or something like that. So now I'm in that stage right now where, like, they're getting faster, and fortunately the crashes are gonna happen. I can't, I can't put bubble wrap on them. They got their gear and stuff on, and helmets and stuff like that. But you know, I've never broken anything, but I sprained bones and played sports and stuff like that and everything. So it's all good. But so you guys are done. You're not having any boys, or you're not.
We're done, man.
Obviously, that didn't work. We got no boys. We got 4 girls, no boys.
Yeah, you know what they say about if a guy has all girls, he was a playboy way back in the day. Is that true?
What's up with that?
Yeah. You'll never know.
Deciding the girl. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna read into that one. That's a good one.
What I
haven't heard that.
Yeah,
Donald, is it payback? Is that why?
Yeah,
like,
that's what they said. They said it's payback.
It.
Yeah, they said it's payback because you were like. You were mean to women or something like that. It's not it's wives' tale and everything. But my last three were girls. I got my oldest girl is 3, and I have 2 twins that are one. They just turned 1 year old last month.
Oh.
So your older 2 are boys.
Yes,
and then
so I got 6, 4, 3, and then 1. Yeah, so they're all.
It changes you, right?
Yeah,
having a girl changes you.
Yeah, it's like doing stuff and. Playing with Barbies and I'm like 245 pounds and I bench press 400 some pounds and I'm playing with like a Barbie and it's cool and I don't care, like I don't care who sees me.
I think you see a lot of stories like that in today's culture where there's a girl who had older brothers and right. She's seeing what they're doing and she wants to do what they're doing and I think it teaches them at an early age that they can do whatever they want. Yeah. And, they may have to do it in a different way and they'll find that way. And maybe that's what makes them great, Yeah. But, keep it up and, let her do what she wants to do. Find her own way, right?
Yeah. I feel like us as parents today always want want better for our kids that we didn't have, right? Yeah. And so like we had our other daughter start a new school, and we're sending her to an art high school. So they do performing arts, visual arts, things like that. And it's just like all the parents that send their kids to that school are like that, where they're just like, do what you love. And we want something better for you and no uniforms. You can wear whatever you want, express yourself. And it's just like, it's such a trip, like what it's come to now. Like it's different. Right. Because back in the day it was so restricted, right? Like,
Do you find yourselves like kind of being all the toge stuff, all the street racing? I mean, I know from my experience, like I've done things that I don't even want to talk about. Like now that I'm an adult, I'm like, dude, I can't believe I was doing it with my buddies. And
Same.
Splitting lanes and
or a lot of times it's like, dude, I don't know how I made it through all that unscathed, right? Yeah. Like I'm here today and I don't know how.
We were like driving in the mountains like every single weekend, sometimes twice a weekend.
Yeah, multiple times a week. Yeah. We were going fast.
We were doing donuts at the top of a mountain when you didn't even know how to do donuts. Yeah. Like I don't know.
So it's like
beginners drifting in the mountains.
Yeah, what I was getting at real quick was the like all the stuff we did, and then now it's like I'm constantly telling them like, hey, don't jump off of that, don't do this, don't do that, and it's like I'm definitely not a bubble wrap parent, but it's like you know what's going to happen by physics if he stands on this ledge and
learn from my mistakes, right? So you try and do that, but now sometimes they can only learn from making their own mistakes.
And I let him, he felt one of my my boys fell the other day, and I kept telling him like, dude, stop standing on the edge of the chair, and he fell. And like, he hit his head on like the sofa. Luckily it was soft, but I was like, dude, that could have been hard. And we'd be in the hospital, and I'm looking at it too. It's like, it kind of sucks. I'm like, dude, I'm going to have to spend time in the ER with you getting stitches. And now I got to postpone the customer's job and stuff like that. I don't want to go to the ER, dude, just chill. So but with you guys having all girls, is it, and now that I'm knowing my girls, and how they're kind of like my 3-year-old, she really she don't want me to touch her until she's ready for me to touch her and pick her up. And then she wants to get candy. So she's very self-sufficient. Whereas my boys, they like, hey, Dad, come do this and come do that and everything and blah, blah, blah. So are your girls kind of self-sufficient and like, hey, we'll need you just for food and water? And is that
just help me survive?
Yeah.
They're all very different. Yeah. All of our girls have very different personalities. Right. So some of them are like what you described. Some of them are, like they want to do everything with you. They need like their hands held or handheld. It's kind of all over the place. Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it's a girl thing.
That's a DNA thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just all very unique in their own ways.
Right. So they have, would you say they have you guys' personality split or more of?
we like, there's always that one, like when they're real bad,
right.
They're like, and I'm like, that's not me.
Yeah.
And then Benson goes, right and then Benson goes like, not me. And then we start going like, well, that's your mom.
Yeah.
Or, we started kind of jumping around, but I don't know. I know one is a lot like me. And the other one, I just get mad at her all the time. So then I'm like, you're stubborn like your dad. And I don't know. I think it's just whenever it's convenient, right. I say.
That's true.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's my wife. Yeah, my wife kind of, because my boys, they really. One thing they kind of, I could tell. I was like, man, I'm the parent now. In the PSA meetings, and it's different here. They don't do the PTA meetings. They don't really do them. They have like this mass thing, like once every quarter in Japan, where you go there, and then like, for me, I'm wearing like this. So I wear like, it's hot, so I wear like the sports gear and stuff. So when I go there, like, I really don't want to go there, because like when I go there, my wife is cool. I'm not after any other women. And when I go there, it's just like you see all the moms, and they wearing like the most, like they want you to look at them. Like, dude, like this is crazy. It's like, is this a PTA meeting or is it like a dating?
Oh.
It's like Japan Cupid is one of the dating sites. Yeah, so they go there, and then it's a weird thing, and then my kids are half breeds, and I hate half breeds sound like a Doug, but they call them half breeds here, and as a result, yeah. If they're not pure Japanese, they all of a sudden have problems. So like one of the things I kind of go through is like, they single out my son is in it's not a slow class, but they're saying he's too hyper, and I'm like, dude, he's just bored. He wants to like race bikes and drift cars, and Japanese are very like sit down, fold your hands, and
be quiet.
Yeah, and it's totally not Japanese in that aspect. So they put them in a class where there's a bunch of other kids that don't focus. I'm like, they just got energy. That's it. There's nothing wrong with him. He's smart. He just doesn't want to sit there and do this boring curriculum. And they don't. That curriculum that they teach now has been the same since 1950s.
Yeah,
like it's maybe 1940s. And they're in Japan. They really. It sucks, but they really mold them just to be like, punch in and punch out. Like you're
right.
You can't do anything else other than punch in and punch out. Yeah, so
little polite robots.
Yeah. And then again, Nadine, like with I know you do the photography, accounting, and then Benson, like that's one thing we didn't touch on. Like for like, what do you do for like the adulting we call it? Like what is your work and everything?
I'm a computer programmer.
Okay.
I've been doing it for a while now. But that was one of the reasons why I couldn't keep pursuing pro drifting, just because like I made good money. I didn't need it to make a living. Like a lot of these guys were like that's what I want to do. Like this is my way of making money. Like this is my opportunity. So for me, I was just like I have a stable, good paying job. So we definitely we share that in common. So what's I guess mainframe software and some search and stuff you generally work with and have regarding? No, I started with a lot of web development. Now it's just like application development.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that's kind of so just a tidbit on me, man, because we getting to know each other too. I computers is what I started in. Like computers is around 96, 95. I had my first like back in the day they had the the monochrome screen, green and black screen, the IBM had the turbo button on it and all that stuff. So I had computers is I did computer repair electronics in high school. I wanted to go to college for computer science, but when I seen the syllabus, I was like, nah, it's not happening, dude. Like I barely passed algebra 1 and I was like, this is not happening. So in a nutshell, the computer parts of it, the wiring, the engine tuning,
like that stuff,
all that stuff. So it really I use those skills, and I built PCs, and it was different today. not kind. That's another whole tangent. PC builders are like, back in the day, we had to go to Newegg, Tiger Direct, go to all these places to get all that stuff.
Yeah.
And now you can go on Tiger Direct and just drag and drop your build. And like, dude, we had to go to the.
That's so cool, though, right?
It is cool, but you know, I know you know about going to the east side to pick up the RAM, and you have to go to the west side to pick up the motherboard, and then
you got to figure out yourself if it's compatible or not. Like,
and
you don't have a website telling you, that works with this piece.
100%, man. So we're in it. You know, we're definitely. I didn't know you did programming. That's pretty cool, man. So that's definitely computers are. I would say I signed off around XP Service Pack 3 is like kind of when I stopped following. And then when I came back to like Windows, I had 7 and all that stuff. And then it was cool stuff I didn't know. Like, I didn't know you can like drag to the right and, have a split screen. And I'm like, dude, I'm behind, dude. I'm way behind.
Yeah.
So it was like, it was, like I know, man, once you get off, kind of stop, it progresses really quickly. So I had a chance to get the A+ for free. And I just was like, whatever. And now if I got A+ back then, the certs in the Net Plus, you would grandfather in, but now you got to take them every year now. But I'm in. I mean, and even if you were in Japan, it sucks. Top of ASC certs and Cisco and all that stuff. You come here, it means absolutely nothing. They just don't care about anything. It's like our certs or nothing. So it really. So a lot of guys. I mean, I've been here 14 years, and a lot of guys 2 years, and they're like, I gotta leave because I'm making well below my value, and it's not the drifting thing. They think it's hard to do over here. Actually, believe it or not. But I enjoy it.
It's good.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
So we got all this stuff. So the question is, when are you guys coming to Japan? I know you guys talked about it.
Oh yeah.
When are you guys coming over?
Yeah, we've never been.
Yeah, we've never been. We sent our oldest daughter twice already.
Oh, yeah?
So like she went because we have family there and on Kyushu in Kumamoto, and I want to go, and it was just always hard because we have all these kids to buy tickets for.
Right. Oh yeah. 100%.
Man,
100%.
That's 6 tickets.
Yeah,
and it's a long plane ride.
Yeah, 14 hours. So I think as our kids get older, it's easier for us to leave them. So I think in the next couple years we're gonna go, and we'll definitely have 2 different itineraries: the touristing and then the drifting, because it's just that's just. We have to do that.
I know you guys got a lot of connections over here and friends and everything. I'm probably your most northern friend now.
Okay.
I'm in Misawa, which is people always think is I'm 8 hours north of Tokyo.
Okay.
But Japan is like it's just like straight up and down. So it's really long, but it's not really wide. So you can drive coast to coast quickly. And so I mean, I drive. I mean, I was just I was down in Osaka. I came back and I went back down to Saitama last week. Then I'm going back down to Tochigi this week to drive a new course called Sunrise. And and then I have Nico coming up for D1 in middle of September. So I love driving. I love traveling, and it's pretty cool. But when you guys get here, like I say, far as cars, if you come up this way or we meet. I got cars. I can arrange that stuff, and you just.
Sweet.
Thank you. We have you on record.
Oh yeah, I got it. I'm Benson. I'm putting together a G35 right now too, so that'll be. I know you're driving a 37 now.
Yeah.
So I got a 35, and I got for spare cars. I got a 35 S14, an RX-8, which the RX-8 sucks. The engine sucks, but So I got a couple cars for visitors when they pop in, and they just hop in and go.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
are they left-hand drive?
They're right-hand drive.
Right-hand drive.
Okay. It's easy. Do a few couple of donuts, and you'll be right back in it. So it's pretty easy. Cool. But yeah, when you guys do come over, just please let me know. And
we will.
What tracks are near you?
Near me, actually, from where I sit, my closest track is 45 minutes away. Is MSP. MSP is significant because the owner or the son. He just won the D1 championship last year, and I think this dude's been pro. He's 28 now. It's crazy, but he's
Wow.
he's been pro since he was 16. So it's
Yeah.
it's all in there.
Oh.
And then I have another track called Cutie and I, which is like a skid pad gymkhana, and that's about 20 minutes away. So that's pretty cool because the guys down in the base guys down in like Yokota, they're 3 hours away. So
Okay.
the Tokyo area is appealing because of course Daikoku Futo is there and all that stuff is like right there, but they have to drive out and the traffic sucks. So for me personally, I don't like to go anywhere around Tokyo. Like it's cool, I've done it, but as far as definitely experience it, but the traffic and the parking and the hotels,
Yeah.
it's just I'm from the city too. I'm from Baltimore, and I like being I'm out in the country, and there's a space,
Right.
air is clean, and I got the beach right there, and it's pretty cool. So, but yeah, so definitely
We're coming to your neighborhood
for
then.
sure. Let me know. Like I got my airport is like my airport here in Masawa is about from my shop about 8 minutes. So like I'm
Nice.
very very locally connected. The train station is about I want to say 25 minutes away. So
Nice.
it's easy to get around, and a lot of Americans here, unfortunately, they come here with the idea of Japan like I did. Like I thought electronics was gonna be cheap. I thought junkyards was gonna be full S13s, and so not the case. The junkyards are full of Subarus, and not even like STIs, they're just regular Subarus. And a TV, 60-inch TV will cost you about $4,000. It's everything is totally
Wow.
it's totally. So I buy stuff from base, like if I gotta get a TV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I get a 60-inch TV for like $400. So it's like it's pretty crazy. and
Wow.
everything. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but yeah, other like I said, a couple other questions I want to ask too is like pretty much how do you guys now with Formula Drift and all that stuff where it is and things like that, do you guys kind of follow Formula Drift, or you see it, or is it kind of like, is it just too far in like the Marvel universe with the power and the angle these guys have now? Is it exciting, or are you just kind of check in every once in a while? Or
We check in every once in a
Yeah.
while just because we still know some people that are driving in
Right.
Formula D.
yeah,
But we don't follow it like we used to.
Mm.
You've seen how much it's changed
yeah, quickly.
with with the style of cars that they've got these like grip monsters with tons of angle,
yeah,
and they fell in love with the outer clipping zone thing, where so like it's outer clipping zones everywhere, and there's no proper line everywhere. There's no, the apexes are gone, and so I've kind of fell out of love with the style of Formula D.
Mm.
Especially with I don't know, just
He's treading lightly. You see.
Yeah,
you got it right. Because I mean, we still know people that help run Formula D too, right?
Yeah.
So like,
No,
there's an avenue
I don't
for
wanna-
people
no,
that,
I don't-
that love that style.
Yeah,
There's an avenue for people that love that stuff.
Right.
Like I said, like my style hasn't changed over the years, and I still love the grassroots
Right,
side of
right.
things.
Right.
I love, just where it came from for me.
Mm.
Yeah.
But there have been some really cool things that came out of pro drifting, like the builds these guys have, these, how you can run a 1,000 horsepower drift car. Like before drag racing, right, you'd have 1,000 horsepower drift car, and like it just needed to run for like 7-8 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And no one thought you could make a car like that run continuously for minutes, right? And these guys can do it, and their cars don't break down, and like I think that's amazing, and I think that's because of drifting, pro drifting.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I know for Formula Drift, like when we were driving it, because Benson drove the first season, I drove the second, and it was always our dream to have the manufacturers get involved, as in like Toyota or Nissan or something like that. And so to see at least some of the manufacturers getting involved, and our friends are driving for their teams, like it's full circle for me, like to see where it finally is, because that was always the dream, right? Like when you're driving, it's like, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if we could be like the other pro series where they're traveling the world and their Toyota's supporting them and things like that. So in that sense, I think it's come a long way, and I think that's great. But I think the drifting is ugly now, and it's just not for me because that's not my style.
Yeah.
But I love that people are trying to make a career out of it. I still think they have some way to go because I know friends that have driven for it and they still can't make a career out of it.
Yeah.
So
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And they should be getting paid way more than they are. And that was also my dream. And I'm just like, you got to get paid. Otherwise, it's not a real sport. So it's still got a long way to go.
Right.
Certainly, they existed. Those blinded by ambition. Those consumed with vengeance. But here, they do not exist. Only winners and losers here. For here, the mighty.
And they're definitely doing things like the tire rules and everything to kind of, put it to kind of, because if you look at a sport like F1, NASCAR, even the pro stock cars and everything, they look at it and they see it, and it's definitely legitimizing. They got the suits, they got the coverage, and they're doing things again, the tire rules, and it's not like wild and guys just dropping F-bombs on in interviews and stuff like that. They trying to make it professional so they can sell it to the bigger companies and stuff like that. And as a result, it's kind of becoming a thing where you see clearly who has the money. RTR, JR team. Another cool thing, JR, he's from we're from the same state, and JR was a IT dude, and he, stuff like that too. So that was pretty cool, and we had the same graphic sponsor. But RTR and all those guys, they're it's not that everybody out there can drift. And that's one thing I tell everybody when they go to events, and I talk to a regular guy. Everybody here that's entered in this event can drift, and they're very good at it. The only difference in separation is really, really resources and how many tires you can burn. If you got to think about tires consumption, you can't really drive 100%. If you got 50 tires, you can just throttle down and change them out. And so tires, parts, and things like that. And that's peace of mind that when I crash, they got the whole left side already assembled, and they put it on versus a privateer whose day is over. You know what I mean? And it's so that it's not, they gotta, I'm not saying they gotta do anything because they don't have to, because honestly it comes down to who has the resources, but it has to be kind of, I think, to be taken serious by other guys, it has to be kind of regulated.
Yeah, I think I wish we were in a place where it can be regulated like F1, where you could, it would kill the drifting spirit, though, I think. Yeah, I think it would. The more money you bring in from these teams, the more politics there are, and I am a firm believer that the reason why pro drifting is the way it is today is because of the sponsor money, and they don't want to see judges judging what is that word? Subjectively, right? They want it as they want to take as much subjectiveness out of the judging as possible, and that's why you have like DOSBox, or you have all these things where it can be measured, right? And so but that kind of takes for me, that kind of takes the spirit out of it for me,
right?
It's already out.
Yeah, because that thing too, I think, and I was talking to everybody in my last podcast, and I was saying pretty much, I think the drifting, I was saying, because it kind of sucks where the newer our kids and the younger and the people who are a little older, we're at the age where, like, for me, I like Roman Empire, I like the Edo era. I go back and watch all that stuff, and I like to see where civilization has come from and why we are where we are right now. And then when you look at news, it's like, dudes are doing those little takeover things, looting 7-Eleven, like, and it's like, this is 2022 and we're still doing stuff like this, and
dumbest stuff.
Yeah, stupid. So I'm like, for me though, with the whole drifting thing, is like, I just resumed drifting, but my car and my mentality and everything is kind of still in, like, it's older than the current guys. So the current guys that are new, they're cutting the tanks out, they're going to fuel cells, they're doing wise fab, They're doing all this stuff, and I'm like, dude, cool, do all that. And I'm like, I've seen the cars not last around because they can't keep them together. They built these cars, 80,000, 70, well, not 80, but 80K, 70K, but they can't afford to maintain it. So I'm like, I'm pretty much going to come back and with a mid-level car, I can do well because my car stays together. It's 480 horsepower, 580 horsepower. I can drive it fast. And they got 900 horsepower, but they're just afraid to accelerate. They're afraid to break the car, and they got anti-lag, they got disc, meth, and all that. I'm like, dude, you got too much going on, bro. It's really simple.
And what that buys you is more seat time than that next driver, right? And what does it matter if you've got this crazy car if you can't get your seat time?
Exactly. You spend all this time building the car, and I will say I for a little bit I did do that, and then I snapped out of it because I was like building this car. I'm like, dude, we're done. Just put the tires down. Let's go. Because I kept adding stuff to it. And I'm like, I don't need all this stuff. And then I had got like the hydro brake, and hydro brake is cool because I don't stretch cables anymore. And so the hydro brake.
You look like you can stretch some cables, man.
Dude, like a half a season, and like you like a choo-choo train, and it's like nothing. So it's like hydro is like the most advanced thing outside of my Haltech ECU in the car. I got a built RB26, but I keep it simple. And again, I think you look at Suchiya-san, and he drifts today, and I used to kind of feel because my drifts are not like, it's not a ton of smoke like these guys where they're doing these big slow entry angles and it's a ton of smoke. I'm like, dude, because they're not going as fast because they're like this. And the car rotates around, and it just got all this smoke and everything. And Suchiya, you get in the car with him, or a guy's driving me, and like, dude, I'm not making a lot of smoke, but I'm going really fast, and they can't see it from the outside. But you got that really shallow, you got angle, but it's not like crazy angle. And I'm like, we're drifting faster. We're drifting actually faster than the guys that are just backing it in and then doing all that stuff. And I'm not
That's
knocking
good
it.
Fundamentals.
It's just not that. I tried back entries and stuff like that. It's just. Yeah, I can do it, but it's like, it's not, dude, shallow angle, high rate of speed is like that. To me, that's cool. So I feel like my style, and I think you guys would say the same, is like frozen into that time period of when you started. Yeah. Would you say the same or?
Oh, for sure. Nadine doesn't have any crazy angle mods on her car. Right. I barely went to Knuckles.
Yeah. She got the
3 years ago.
chop springs though, right?
No.
No, that was version 1. That was version 1. We're on V3. I'm a little bit more advanced, but even like I just went drum brake like a year and a half ago, and I just started using my e-brake.
Dude, that e-brake. I learned how to use e-brake in Japan. Sunaga-san taught me because I
which one?
Nato.
Okay.
Yeah, so he had a drift clinic, and I was like, the dude's like, hey man, come to the drift clinic. I was like, dude, no, I'm good, man. I can link the whole track. He's like, dude, trust me, come. And then I learned so much in that 2 hours because e-brake sucked. It wasn't active. It wasn't there.
That's right.
And he was able to get it to work by going really fast, and then you go sideways enough, it locks up. And then I was the last person to get out of the e-brake course, and I thought I was the hot stuff. And he's like, yeah, your e-brake sucks. And he's gotten to multiple of my cars and like pretty much came back like, yeah, dude, change this, change that. It's too stiff. And I'm like, they're brutal. They're like, they don't. I'm like thinking the car is the best. He's like, dude, it's too stiff. Take out some damper here, do this, and I do it in the car. I'm like, dude, this is amazing. And so I learned a lot from Sunaga, and I spent a lot of time in the BSU. I'm 5 hours in BSU. But yeah, those guys, man, it was just that learning how to use the e-brake, and that just elevated my game, and then other stuff. And then, so the e-brake definitely, a lot of guys today, young guys, they're like, nah, don't touch it. I'm like, don't like hold it, but you got to use it a little bit to correct it.
It's a tool.
Yeah,
it's a tool there.
Yeah.
To use.
Yeah, it's a tool in your toolbox. You got to be well-rounded. Yeah. So like maybe you don't want to rely on it heavily, but you should know how to use it.
Yeah. But I didn't use mine because I have a 240 and stock e-brake sucks. Yeah. So I mean, it's just like that's why. Yeah. And it's just that's what it is.
Yeah. Did you crank down on did you tighten the cable, or is it?
Oh yeah.
And then you tighten and you stretch it out and everything, and
it's like another 10.
Like, oh man, it's
Get
loose
the
again.
10
Let's
out.
get the
I've broken that thing before, like just tighten it too much and it just snaps
Oh
off.
man,
But
just had it. Huh?
Benson though, like, cause I know you're like, cause I want to get your idea, and I know you're kind of torn on the Hachiroku and the S13 and all that stuff, man. And I will. It's weird. I have, again, I think the highest horsepower car I've had to date was about 700. But dude, I had more joy driving a 4AG Carina, like in a Hachiroku, like this. It's like I remember watching a video with Ken. And he was driving with I think it was Willow, and they had a Miata, and Reese Millen was there, and Reese, everybody knows who Reese Millen is, but Reese Millen's been driving high horsepower cars for years.
Yeah.
And Ken did better in the Miata because Ken had just recently came from driving Hachirokus.
Yeah.
And you got a world class driver in Reese who can't pilot a Miata because he's used to grip and high horsepower and all that stuff. And I think I told a younger, I'm like, dude, if you can't, I was like, dude, literally, if you can't strap into Hachiroku and within a few laps slide it, your fundamentals are not there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you got to earn the horsepower.
Yeah.
That's what I always would tell my students. You earn it.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. I don't know why that doesn't translate to, say, like a stock S13, like an S13 with a stock SR. Like, you maybe have like 170 horsepower to the crank,
right,
or to the wheels, right? And then in a Hachiroku, right, it's like 100 horsepower. But I don't understand why the sensation you get when you're driving a Hachiroku,
exactly,
like S13 is different. It doesn't feel the same.
It doesn't fight you like the Hachiroku.
But like, I told someone recently, like, who drove a Hachiroku for the first time, I was like, a good run in Hachiroku feels like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It definitely does. It definitely does.
And there's just like, you can't explain that experience to someone who hasn't experienced it themselves.
The biggest thing I had to when I drove my first Hachiroku was the guy was like, I drove it. He's like, he come back, he's like, dame, you're driving like RP25 turbo, 300 horsepower, because you were going to the corner and waiting and clutch. He's like, dude, you got it. He was like, don't crash your car, but like you have to clutch kick everything, every transaction. And he's like, oh, and I was like, okay. And then the next time I go out there, every manji was clutch kick, clutch kick.
Yeah.
Clutch kick. It was just like, then after that, I'm like, dude, oh, I got it. And then within 5 laps, I was driving the Hachiroku, and I was like, dude, I really, for the first 3 or 4, I was like, dude, I suck, because I was always told that if you can't drive a Hachiroku, your skills are not as sharp as you think they are, because you're relying on power and being lazy in the corner and half clutching and stuff like that to get the boost back up. And then my buddy had a Carina, and I drove that. And I'm like, dude, I'm linking a whole course where guys normally with like a low horsepower turbo car, they can't link it because they feel like they don't got power. But the 4AG, I was telling the guy, I'm like, dude, the 4AG feels like more power than the RX-8, because when I clutch kick, it actually does something. The RX-8, you clutch kick it doesn't do anything. It just like it doesn't change direction. It doesn't do anything. Like, this sucks. That engine sucks. So it was not fun. But Hachiroku definitely very very fun to me. So so right now, if you got to pick, this is at the end of this podcast, what's the car you're gonna go with for life? I'll say both of you guys.
Oh,
like you can't. I mean, you can mod it as much as you want, but that's
you mean drift car for life?
Well, any car.
Any car for life,
like this,
or drift car for life, because I have 2 different ones.
Yeah, let's make it. Let's say your regular car and a drift car. So what are you picking? So 2 cars, one you got to drive every day, and one you're going to drift all the time for life.
All right. Well, my daily driving all life is a R35 GTR.
Okay.
That's it. Like daily for life. For track, I only honestly know 240s and only love 240 hatches. And we have our 350. We really haven't drifted it. I had an S13 coupe. I didn't like that because I couldn't pack a bunch of stuff in it to go to the track, and it just wasn't the same. And I drifted like S14s and a Hachiroku, and I think I it's my love. I'm never gonna stray from the S13.
Yeah.
So if I had to choose, I go with what I know and have loved, and I will always have my car. You know, since I got my car in '97, and I still have it today.
Yeah.
And 240 for life.
Yeah.
I don't know about Mr. Benson.
Yeah.
But
that's a hard question.
Yeah, you got
like a daily driver. Like I've been really looking at wagons lately.
Yeah.
I think a wagon would be really cool
so
for the family.
You gotta get a Stagia.
Dude, I would love a Stagia 260 RS.
Yeah. I just sold a two. It was a RB25, but I sold one not too long ago, and I have a 350Z version Stagia and a couple other ones. So yeah, they're definitely cool.
Yeah. Those would be really cool with the R34 face.
Yeah.
You know, bring it to Pinku style. Maybe put
for sure, man.
Oh, it already have a 20. It already have a 26 in it. So, but yeah, like I think that would be really cool. I think that I love how just the technology in newer cars.
Yeah.
How well they run and how reliable they are. But I love the character out of an older car.
Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely, yeah. So what you picking, man?
So I guess I'll go with a Stagia for the daily. That's probably not very practical. I'm sure like something will break and I have to wait 3 months.
Well, you can still drift it too. You can still
for sure
still drift it. So.
No, but that wouldn't be. You could drift it. That probably wouldn't be like my favorite car to drift.
Yeah,
I would definitely stick with my S13 for that.
Yeah.
For that drift car, like I would love a Hachoku.
You can't have your cake.
But yeah,
you only
like
pick one.
I had to pick one, it's got to be the S13.
Yeah. So we're all that. Yeah. So that's pretty much me is S13 for both. It's just S13 was my that one I showed, the picture I showed you with the spring. That was my first. Unfortunately, when I left for Japan, they got parted out, but that chassis was very rusted and everything. But I did learn a lot, and I was a KT, so I went. I never had that, so I had a disdain for SR because I couldn't afford it, and the guys who did have it really talked down towards everybody who didn't have it. So it was SR RB20 back at that time. The CA was kind of like. The CA, people didn't really know like a lot about it. They didn't know it was really a small RB. It was a small baby RB.
It looks like an RB.
Yeah, it's that CA is that thing is a tank. It's a really. I got one in a garage and is I can't wait to build it. But the I was a KT guy, so I went KT and S13 was my S13 hatch was my first car. So S13 is like my default chassis, but I love RBs, so all my S13s have RBs or something else in it.
Okay.
Yeah, SRs are cool, but man, they're temperamental, man. Like they the rocker arms like to pop off and different things, and now the Japanese are actually kind of going away from them because believe it or not, there's more SR20s in California than there is in Japan right now.
Oh yeah, we know.
You took them all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you took them all. Japanese are very angry about that. And they let me know all the time. Like when I ship a car out, they're like, dude, like
you're people.
Yeah, exactly. Like, dude, but this is money. And now Japanese realize what they have. They just realized it in the last 5 years. So now the RB25 transmission now is $1,600 used. The R154 1J, the transmissions are now like 28. The CD 009s, they're going up to about 1,200, 1,300. So. And the 350Z, the RX-8, they're becoming like the new cars because there's no more S13s. Like, it's just
same here.
Yeah,
same here.
It's becoming, and for me,
which is good because I want to see drifting progress,
right.
And always using newer cars. Like, I don't want drifting to be the sport to be 50 years old and everyone's still got an S13, right?
Yeah.
Like it's got to change.
Yeah, because we got to be the cool people with S13s. We can't have the newer guys like so like S13 come out there. So now S13 is kind of when you see like a Carina or you see like a older like Z30 or A31 or a Safari. Like you see one of those, like that's a older drift car. And now you see like now they're at the track now. They're using a lot of Z's here at my local track.
Interesting.
They're using a lot of the older FT86s. They're using those, the ones that kind of been like crashed a little bit.
Mhm.
And of course, the Chasers and the Crowns, and that's a Japan thing now, the 100s and 90s in the States. But they're starting to use the different cars, and a lot of the young guys, it sucks for them because I'm selling an S14 now for $3K, and that's actually very, very, very cheap.
That is very cheap.
It's no documents. They can't road drive it, and now it's either that or you got to spend 10, 12K just to get into a base model S14. S13s are 28K here now, by the way. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it's pretty
wild.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. The Hachirokus are 30s. The R34s are 45, 50s.
Yeah.
Supers are 60 at least.
Yeah.
And so the young guys come to me and they want to source a car. I'm like, dude, I hate to say it, but you got to have at least 50K to get started. And,
Wow.
and 50K,
That's insane.
and that's going to get you like something that needs work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
insane.
but like
That's
you
insane.
guys, man, I think, I don't drive drift cars daily, and I never thought I would not drive a drift car daily.
Yeah.
I drive a regular K truck, and I drive my Hi-Ace, and I don't. I enjoy kind of like not having to shift gears. Like it's weird. It's weird.
I go through that like for me, in the summertime I don't have to take the kids, right? Because I'm like you, right? And I have like an uncool car that I drive daily because I've got to stick 4 kids in it or 3 kids, and so we drew the Yukon Denali, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, dang, it's so big. And then the summer I don't have to drop them off at school. So then I drove the Z all summer, daily. And that was real nice. And I was like, okay, I can do this, because I started getting mad and saying, I don't want this dumb big car anymore.
Yeah.
And so what if it can tow? And I have like this love-hate with driving something so common every day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, but you guys remember when we used to daily the drift cars?
Yeah.
And
Oh my
you
God.
like we were good with like I don't have AC. That's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude,
like
What about how
dogs.
did you guys used to carry like spare parts and like
yeah,
toolbox?
always.
Yeah.
I had a
Oh
toolbox
my
in my car all the time. It lived in my
brake
car.
really hard, and I would hear my
Yeah.
tools start coming out, and then I would lock my car and to go to Vaughn's and go shopping, and this lady's like, "Excuse me, ma'am, your car's still on."
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm carrying my steering wheel.
Yeah.
And people are like, "What the?
Yeah.
What do you?" Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss those days.
Yeah,
Those
I
were
know.
good
Yeah.
times.
That you could put up with back then.
Yeah, when I see like a young guy and like they're very like excited. I remember being excited about every mod and
No, because you found something
Yeah.
bigger than yourself.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Your kids, your family.
and looking at them and looking in their eyes, and they don't mind driving a K-van and have them in the back with their dirt bikes and not being
Mhm.
cool. Then I pull up at a light and there's a dude in his slam FT86 with a wing, and I know he doesn't drift because the car is way too clean.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh, dude, I got this and I got that at the shop. But then I'm like,
Yeah.
cool, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I only see like clean like S13s on the street
Yeah.
when I'm driving like the Yukon, and I'm like, dang it, you should on it. And I was like,
Yeah.
you don't know
Yeah.
that I'm so, what I got at home,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and then they like drive
Yeah.
all fast. I'm like,
Yeah, and then again, I know you again from follow you guys, and it's like some people would be like, hey man, I know this guy, I know that guy, and it's like for me, I just smile. I like it's just like a thumbs up if it's cool. And the guy look at you, because Japanese, they don't look at you in traffic. They stagger themselves, so they don't want to be they don't want to be like you're setting up to go race
like in America.
Yeah, you look at him
they
and
don't
nod.
rev up on you.
He's like, you go first. But so every once in a while, the guys, they'll know me from the videos and everything, and I'll give them a thumbs up and whatever, and give them a card if I talk to them at Lawson's. But that took a while to get over not driving a cool car. And I will tell you, part of the reason is I wrecked my D1 car in Toge, and that set me back for 2 whole years, and that was like the end of it was bad. It was D1 stickers all over it and sponsor stickers, and I was pulling stickers off, and RB26 in a ditch, and I had to leave it for about 3 hours, and they luckily craned it out. But the people who craned it out, I didn't know were Yakuza. So I owed them guys. It was bad. I owed my insurance expired that same night, And going back to a little bit at the beginning, a little bit kind of closing out, but it's the I went to D1 event, and it was D1 divisionals, and like Nadine mentioned, and the sponsors and stuff come in. There was favoritism, and I actually I'm like, man, I messed up a little bit, but one guy completely flat spun, but because he was putting money into the company, they let him go. And I'm like, dude, I seen that, and I'm like, I'm Gaijin, I got this stuff against me, and I was angry. I packed up and left. I didn't make it I didn't make it past qualifying, and I was angry. And then same night, my Japanese guy called me and said, hey man, come drifting. I'm like, only car I have is my S13, my Sileightymania. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go out, man. And something was like, dude, don't go out. And I went out, and I was angry driving.
Oh God, sorry.
Yeah, so good.
Sorry.
About 600 horsepower at that time, and I'm coming down the hill, and the guy's like, hey man, cool, but you got to slow down. We only do second gear here. You're in fourth gear. It's too fast.
Yeah.
But I'm not a street drifter, so all I knew was get in gear and get it up and get the speed up, and for the ratio. And yeah, man, I come down the hill, smoke flying everywhere, and I'm manji, and I can't see. And I hit a turn, a guardrail, and did a 180, went down the hill, hit a tree.
Oh.
And I'm like, dude, this is not real life. And I'm like, F-bomb, 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 F-bomb. And I got to go to work tomorrow. And yeah, so they pulled it out. The insurance expired that night, and he was going to do a write-off. And I had to pay these Yakuza guys $2,000. I couldn't afford it, so I had to pay them $200 every pay period.
Yeah.
And this is after the military, so I went back to making about $1,100 a month. That's it. And that's to stay in Japan. You had to do that.
Yeah.
And I was paying him $200 a month, and the guy knew that I was in their graces, and he started taking advantage of it. So I did a clutch job for free. I did multiple jobs for free, and then towards the end, I'm like, dude, you're using me. And I definitely, you guys didn't take me out. If you didn't pull me out, I would have got in trouble and got kicked out of Japan. So I felt indebted to him, and I owed the money. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Yakuza is real. And after towards the end, though, because the way he did it, I paid him the last $200. I was like, dude, I don't want to see you again. And that was it. Yeah. And now I see him at the track, and I the way he kind of took advantage of me, I just couldn't kind of forgive him for that. And it was like, yeah, man, we can't be friends after that, man, because you definitely, you took advantage. But hey, it was my fault. I crashed, and they actually did help me out, because if they would have found the car, I would have been pretty much deported.
Yeah,
and stuff like that, and that ended my street racing career again for the second time. And so yeah, it was, and I never posted online about that and everything, and I've told the story, but I never shared videos and pictures. Yeah. But yeah, that sucked, man. That set me back 2 years. Like, so speaking of that, man, have you guys had any toge smashes or wrecks?
We had a turbo. Well, oh God, Benson. I remember it wasn't as amazing as a crash. Yeah. Like Benson was always very good, right? Calculated, safe guy, because I would always be with him, and I think he was trying to make sure. But
yeah,
he would run his car. And what I would get a kick out of is he would make his turbo glow. Oh. Like he would run his car so hard, we pop the hood, his turbo's orange. Yeah, and it was so cool. And I remember we got in a fight, and I think we almost broke up. Oh. And I knew, and I seen him the next day or something like that, and he had blown his turbo at Toge or something like that, and I think that was the most amazing, the worst thing that ever happened.
I mean, I hit the mountain wall.
I mean, it once. It was not. There's nothing spectacular.
Crazy,
it was more like those spectacular things were happening before our eyes with other people who we didn't know. And then the cops would come, and we're like, oh, we got to go because they called the cops. And so it was more like there's a lot of people there that shouldn't have been.
Yeah, we saw a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But it never happened to us.
Our friends were driving off the cliffs and flipping their
rolling their cars. Yeah.
But Benson, he's such a good boy. He just does crazy things.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's not crazy like you, fourth gear.
Yeah, that was anger. And then also when I got there, the dudes were they street drivers here hate track guys, and track guys don't really they don't care for the guy, because we all come from the streets,
Yeah.
And so but they hate like not and looking back now and pulling up with a car with D1 stickers all over it, you know, I was a D1 driver or whatever, but they seen it as like it's not achievable for them. So it was more of like a number one, how is this gaijin in my country doing D1 and I can't? So when I went there, they were all like kind of like, you know, pointing and laughing and snickering, and they thought I was a poser. So I'm like, so it was a demo.
Yeah.
So the first like 2 sessions, they were like, oh, this guy can drift. And then luckily before that crash, I had a girl, she wanted to drive, and that didn't make her boyfriend happy. So, you know, she's in the car with me, you know, boyfriend's watching. She didn't ask him. She's like, oh, can I ride? Hi. So like, she get in the car and then he's like, he was saying something and I go drive, and then I was like, something's wrong. I was misfiring. That was another thing too. It was misfiring. So one of the injector clips were backing out, and then I was like, hey, you got to get out because I got to test something. When that next one down, that's when I crashed. So luckily I didn't have, if I would have had her in it, it would have been really bad. Really bad. It'd have been bad because I landed, they landed on my side. I hit the tree and my cage saved my leg and everything, but she could have like broke her arm or something like that, and that would have been bad. So yeah, that was lucky. But one thing I want to ask you, I got we're almost done here and everything. Nadine, for the because you mentioned a little bit on the one of your guys' podcasts, talked a little bit about your experience with Fast and Furious, and both of you guys, like, I mean, the whole thing, like, you know, I hate that I got into the game like physically. 99 is when I met my first car, guys, and 2000 was when I drove my first sports car, and then Fast and Furious came out, and I was dubbed as that group of people, like, that, you know, it's like, oh, you do it because Fast and the Furious. I'm like, yeah, I guess so. But it had some, you know, something to do with it and everything. When Tokyo Drift came out, I was like, dude, this is gonna really suck because they're gonna screw it up. And actually, it was better than I was like a sigh of relief. I was like, dude, they didn't marvel it. They didn't do like over the top CG. I was happy with it.
Yeah,
well, I was happy with it. But Nadine, like, I mean, for people who don't know, like, Nadine had something to do with this. So Nadine, for a little bit, I know you talking on your podcast, you guys can check out the Sileightymania Podcast and everything for more in detail. So how was your experience for the like you mentioned your hands and feet? They needed your hands and feet for the scene. How was your experience with working with the Hollywood and stuff like that?
Yeah, I got a call, and it was kind of surreal that they're like, hey, we need a stunt double for Neela in Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. We'd love to have you on set. And I was very torn because I wanted to fight the whole Hollywood thing. Yeah. But at the same time, it would be kind of cool, right? To be in a Hollywood movie and be a part of it. So I ultimately agreed to come on set to Warner Brothers Studios. And then they had me in, and they did the full, like, had me in costume and had me in her car. And I guess the girl can't shift. Oh, yeah. So they wanted me to like shift and downshift and turn and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, all right. That's what you need me to do. I mean, that's fine. So I went there and I had the full Hollywood experience and the food on set and all the lighting, and it was a really cool experience that is just once in a lifetime kind of thing, and I'm so glad that I got to do it. But yeah, I was a part of Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, and I was kind of embarrassed about it, really, but in hindsight, I'm so glad I did it, and I didn't let that whole like, well, I don't want to be a sellout, and like, I just put all that aside because I did it for the experience, so I could probably live to tell my children I was in Tokyo, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Have your girls seen Tokyo Drift? Or
you know what? I don't even think they have. Yeah. So, that's probably I should probably show that to them.
Well, they got to start. They got to start at part 1 to see how cool it was.
Yes.
And then after 3, it kind of went to like Marvel and like I said, the over the top and cars jumping from building to building.
Yeah, their budget got big.
Yeah, so it got huge and stuff like that. So it'll be cool. Like that's me, right? And they're like, no way. And it's pretty like now with the it's weird now because YouTube and when we make do a video and stuff like that, people just, I'm like, dude, anybody can upload a video. It's just, the production and stuff like that. So when my kids see the YouTube and they watch the videos, they're like, oh, daddy's on TV because, smart TV and you stream it to them. I'm like, nah, dude, nobody's filming me. That's me uploading it. And then they see themselves riding dirt bikes and they just like, they can't believe it. Like, I'm on TV. I'm like, nah, you're on TV, but not really. But YouTube is it's becoming honestly, when I have time, I mean, I'm watching YouTube and like Netflix with the wife. I do Netflix and chill with her sometimes. And then do like the Hulu. Like, I don't watch TV. Like, it's just all YouTube, and everything is the production is there. It's quicker. And you don't have to wait 5 years for, to get the green light to do things now. So it's pretty, it's like kind of like the norm now. So that's what kids see now. So when they see us on YouTube, it's like, oh man, you guys are ultra famous. Like, okay, cool. If you think so.
Yeah. No, agreed. We feel the same.
But they definitely, definitely be cool. Definitely be cool. And I can, he hasn't said anything, but there was a movie that came out here called Live Drift, and to date, they're trying to move it around, and it's definitely it's zero CG in this whole movie. It's just straight drifting, and they're trying to. I'm working with them to try to get it to the States, and the director's going to come to my shop after the BSU round, which is this week or next week. BSU is going on to actually right now, tomorrow, today, and he's going to come probably next week after I get back from Tochigi, and he was mentioning like trying to make it a movie, so I might get to experience like some,
that is so
nice.
cool.
Some stuff.
Yes, you deserve it. You get it.
Well, he's like, I'm like, dude, like, you got a gaijin drifting, like you could definitely like blow people's minds with that stuff. So
for sure,
do stuff there.
Share your love with them.
Yeah, they're all cool. Yeah, it's surreal kind of to talk to a director of even though it's an indie film, but it's still pretty big. He got me a signed. My wife got a signed poster by Suchiya and Arito, nice. but she was shocked. I'm like, dude, like he sees the shop and YouTube and that I'm working towards things, so it's not like he's just wasting his time talking to random Joes and stuff like that. It's not wrong with random Joes. Don't want make it sound like it's like that. But these guys are only going to talk to people who they could benefit from. To be honest, he's a business guy, and he wants to come meet me and see what the shop's about and stuff like that, and possibly talk about some stuff later on. But I'm not getting too excited about it until it happens, whatever, if it does. But I'm rambling now. But man.
Well, I'm down to see you as this generation's Mr. T, man.
Yeah, it's the only. Yeah, dude, this is the only guy. It's the only Japanese will say it sometimes, and they're like, dude, why the mohawk? I'm like, dude, because when I was growing up, like Mr. T, I used to watch that, and then when I got out the military, I used to have like regular haircuts, and then I was like, dude, I've always been kind of not a square. I've been popular, but I didn't care about being like the guy at the party. Like I don't smoke, I don't drink. I didn't go to prom. I didn't do a lot of cool stuff, but I was a varsity athlete, played 3 sports, played college football, University of Maryland, and different things. And but I was never. But at the end of that, I was fine with going home and playing Gran Turismo and building the computer. So I didn't need I didn't need like to be the center of attention. So I did the hair because that was totally people when they see like, dude, like that's totally not the Donald we know and stuff like that. And you were really reserved and I would say like Benson, I'm quiet like you, but at the same time, when I need to be, I'm very direct and so it's a split. So people like, dude, you're nice and quiet one minute, and then the next minute, like you're ready to rip somebody's head off.
Right.
So it's like
you're just saying, don't put me in a box.
Yeah.
Like you don't know who I am. Yeah.
So it's like it's and for just telling you guys a little bit about me here in Japan, it's just now I'm in a situation, man, where I don't have like a lot of American friends because guys, if I can't give them something, they don't want to be cool with me. Mm-hmm. And then Japanese are now in a situation now because the shop is doing well and it's growing and they're seeing that I could do all the stuff that they do. It's like they feel honestly threatened, man. And it's like, so now I go to the track and I'm like, I got the Japanese dudes who don't want to talk to me because I know Team Orange and I mean, I know Suchiya-san, and it's a whole lot of, you guys know all about it. It's a whole lot of high school drama, and this guy likes that guy, and you took a picture with him, so you can't hang with us. I'm like, dude, I just want to drift.
Silly.
Yeah, I just want to drift, man. And so now, unfortunately, I'm like friendless, kind of, and it's. But at the same time, I just do my thing, and I promote my company, and I'm with my kids. So I'm not gonna lose sleep over guys who don't want to talk to me because I took a picture with Suchiya-san, or I'm friends with this guy, and not it's high school stuff, man. I'm 39.
No time for that.
Yeah, no. And like in my realm, like we call it, like comparison is the thief of joy. And so you just go out there and do you and have fun, and they're gonna lose their joy comparing themselves to you.
Well, I need from you guys. I need some more because I've already run through all your podcasts, in literally two and a half days. I watched
OTW
everything, and now I'm like I'm starting to listen to your the Drifting Pretty podcast.
Oh God, I need to drop the next season. I have a bunch slated, and I'm just sitting on them like this. They're right
perfect.
here.
They're perfect for like the shop. I just stream it in the background. You get to hear things again, like going back to Sileightymania Podcast. Like I love the Hawaii the 2-part because I know of course I had orders to Hawaii and I actually turned them down because I had orders to Japan and then they diverted to Hawaii. I was like, dude, please, I don't want to go there because the tracks. Yeah, I'm like, dude, I got all these tracks here, and I heard that the track had closed around that time frame, so it was right around 2006 is when I got in the military. Okay, and so that was 2006 when 2006 when it closed. And then I talked to, of course, I knew Alex for a little bit. He's like, yeah, dude, I wouldn't go there. Like, So I was like, change that, please. And I came to Masawa and
nice.
14
and look
years
at
ago.
you now.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
14.
That was your fate.
Yeah, 14 and a half years ago. And I didn't want to be here at first in Masawa until I visited Tokyo. I was like, dude, I don't want to be there because there's just traffic. Traffic, and it's nice to visit, but living there, nah.
Right.
Nah. Right. It's actually more dangerous down there for car thefts and stuff like that.
Oh, I see.
Yes, it's just getting the Chinese triads and the.
Oh my god!
Yeah, we can make a real movie out of the stuff that goes on down there, and I see it, but I don't engage into it, and I'm careful about who I hang around with, and
that's crazy.
And Japan is easy to see the shady stuff, very easy.
Very
easy and stuff.
Because it's so straight edge there for the most part.
They don't even have they don't even have Grand Theft Auto units here, so. It's like if the car is gone, like they say Montanai or something like that, where like it can't be helped. I'm like, dude, that's like my car though, man.
That's insane.
Yeah,
that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's real big. So again, guys, we just said that was my alarm just went off there and everything. I want to hold to that and everything at 2 hours, and I think we probably have to do this again because this is one thing about the podcast, and one thing it's so much. We're so much. All of us are so much bigger and deeper than just drifting. That's like the thing that really binds us, and that's how I found out about a lot of stuff through you guys. But in the podcast, it's like you only get like a little window, and like everybody, you can't really form an opinion fully over how somebody is and things like that. So there's so many questions I would have and things, but. Yeah, we'll probably do it at a later time.
And, we're down.
Yeah,
this was fun.
We could do it live next time. With you in Japan.
Yeah, I got like this. It's like a full like mic. I got studio and everything here. And
nice.
All right.
It's all soundproofed and all that stuff. And like I say, if you guys, whenever you decide to come, I'm pretty sure I'll still be in business because I picked a great time to launch the business because right now all the cars need to be rebuilt. So it's like I'm not getting comfortable, but I am comfortable because I'm like, dude, I'm going to get an email tomorrow about a dude with low compression on his RB26 or 4AG needs a rebuild, or these cars are 35 years old now to get it up there. Yeah. So they all need bearings. They all need all this stuff. And I'm booked now until like December.
Nice.
So that's a good
Good
feeling.
for you.
Yeah, that's a good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good.
That
Yeah,
is so
if you
cool.
run across like a cheap RB26, like keep it on ice for me
Yeah.
and just work on it when you have free time.
I'll
use it eventually.
Yeah, cheap like RB20. When I got here in 08, RB26 full up, good running. It was $2,800. Now I might just source one for a guy. It was to Minnesota. It was like $9K, man.
Wow.
Yeah, and
I can imagine.
again overnight the Japanese say, "Oh, dude, this is popular, $5,000, $6,000," and then other guys see the other sellers, and then it's just going up. So I got about 3 spares, and I got a blocker for sale for one of the RB26s, but it's like I'm about to just keep it because that block I'm selling for $1,000 is going to be worth now $5,000, and it's
That's
like
crazy.
I can't. So I got to have spares to be able to compete and stuff like that. And yes, SRs are there's like 1 or 2 SRs on the auctions. S15 SR goes for about 6,000, 7,000 here.
Wow.
4 AG,
Oh, man.
4 AGs are like $5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
So it's just everything is, it's a T6 transmission for Ichiroku's. They're like 12
T50.
Yeah, 250. Yeah, they're up there, and it's man, it's the inflation, the Corona stuff, and everything has definitely changed stuff, and then exporting has slowed things down.
Mm-hmm.
Only caveat or benefit to me is that I can undercut because I'm not trying to make all the money in a row off one car. So
Mhm.
I can sell it for 10, 12K and they'll buy it within days. So it pretty much go that way. But yeah, I'll definitely, if I see one, yeah, man, I'll let you know, man. Send you some links
Okay.
and do things
Yeah.
there. But again, guys,
Nice.
really, man, thanks for your time. What time is it over there right now?
It's 11:43 a.m.
Okay, so
In the morning.
you guys gotta, you got
you need to go to bed, Donald.
yeah, it's 3:43. To be honest, if I
Oh
wasn't
my
talking to you
God.
guys, I probably like 1 o'clock. About one, I try to get at least 6 hours of sleep, but I'm doing emails. Again, like I wish, when you come over here, Nadine, you need to talk to my wife because I'm trying to get her on the books because I'm doing the books, I'm doing emails, scheduling. Like I'm like, look, if you don't come here, I'm going to hire like this Japanese chick named Megumi. And now and she's like, oh no, I will come there and all that stuff. So I was like, I'm not hiring a dude to do my books. I'm just,
Oh my
I hate
God.
to be sexist on that, but dudes just suck at books.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
I'm good at it because I have to be, but
Yeah.
even she's doing the sorting. I'm like, dude, you've already like made it better than what I had just by like tabulating it and making it pretty and the color coding. I'm like, dude, I just put all the receipts in a book and that's it. And
Yeah.
so like I'm not hiring a dude, so I'm like, you need to come here and help me. Because
Yes.
videos, everything. I'm like a one-man band, which is cool, but it'd be nice to have.
It's not cool. You need help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it sound cool, but yeah,
No,
you gotta help me. But
hey, but Donald, thank
Yeah.
you. Like, keep doing what you're doing, and I give flowers to you for being the only Black dude out there at the J tracks.
Yeah. There's a couple
it's-
other ones, but as far as the pro stuff, like I'm the only one doing the pro stuff. There's
Yeah.
I mean I hate to. There's like literally myself. There's like 4, well, outside of the military guys, because they're like temporary, so they don't really live here. As far as living here, there's myself and 4 other like Black guys, and it's easy because there's like is a straight minority with that stuff. But the D1.
I know how you feel though, because
Yeah.
that's how it was for me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, it was like I was the Lone Ranger, me and my friend, and that was it
Yeah.
for the longest time. So I know how you feel, and all eyes are on you.
Yeah,
And it's a big mental game,
yeah,
but it makes you so strong and probably a lot better.
yeah.
having
That's
to deal
the
with
only
all
thing I
that.
don't like is the looks
So-
I get from guys' girlfriends. I'm like, dude, I don't want to cause any troubles between you and your boyfriend, because they see when I go to the track and it's a Japanese girlfriend. The Japanese girl is like, they just never seen a Black dude and then a Black dude that drifts.
Yeah.
And then a Black dude not the Black dude that drifts better than their boyfriend is like, dude, that's that's just like
that's like hot.
it's like
right?
blowing their mind.
Super.
So it's
They're
like
getting sprung on you.
yeah. So it's like look, man, I don't want to cause any trouble. And the dude don't want to talk to me because his girlfriend's looking. I'm like, dude, I got a wife. I love my wife, and I'm not interested in your girlfriend. I've had my fun. Trust me, I've had my fun here.
Damn, first world problems. Donald. Oh my god.
So we gotta work on that. But yeah, that's yeah. So definitely, again, I definitely look forward to you guys eventually coming over here. Cars and tracks and that stuff. I can get all that stuff set up and it's pretty easy.
Thank you.
It's pretty easy. So again, guys are there again watching and listening. Again, this if you're just tuning in because it'll be premiering. This is Nadine and Benson Hsu. Again, two of the pioneers for American style drifting. They were in the mix when it first started in America. I got in like when 2003, 2004 is when I got into it. The first Falcon show off. And all that stuff is when I got involved. I got my first real registered car in 2004, so that's when I started. And looking at that, that's 20-some years ago. We're all about, I think, I'm not sure. I'm not good at math. I failed Algebra 101 a bunch of times in college. But the, yeah, man, you guys are definitely pioneers of the sport. Definitely check them out, the Sileightymania Podcast. Check them out on also Drifting Pretty. Check out the history of Drifting Pretty, how they got to the point. The podcast is pretty good. A lot of information. A lot of empowerment for women out there to get into different things. Not only motorsports, but getting into just controlling your life and making it happen, being positive and just staying positive overall. And that's what I like again about you guys too, is just keeping a positive outlook because it's easy to get negative out there, but just keeping everything positive and just listening to Benson's soothing voice on a toll road while I'm driving. and Nadine talking about the cut springs and the guys giving the crap on there. So again, that you guys you seriously kept me awake 12 hours driving down there and 12 hours driving back and everything. So it was a good thing. So again, thank you guys.
Thanks for having us on. Thanks for everything that you do, and thanks for the flowers. And you mentioned you served multiple tours in Iraq, and I want to thank you for your service. Right. And we wouldn't have all the freedoms that we have without people like you. I
mean, thanks for that. And not to sound like I don't want to be like a bore on that. Every single dime from Iraq went to drift cars. Every single dime, like every single dime. I made it's tax free, and every single dime went to that, and it wasn't wasted because the money that I spent from that, all the deployments building the cars up, the 240, the R33, that led into me getting the skills I needed, and then that led into me getting the pro license, and that's what legitimized my shop because you got to have some kind of like, what are you, a time attack guy, or you got time attack customers or drifting? So drifting legitimized my shop, but. Fortunately, we're all drifters, and we know we can't afford to go to a drift shop every time. So I don't get any. I have one drift build in 6 years from a customer. Yeah. So not to be a Debbie down on the whole Iraq stuff because I don't want to. Some guys use it as a bleeding heart. Trust me, that money was definitely utilized for fun and everything, and I made it out alive and all that stuff like that. So yeah, man. But again, thank you though, because a lot of people don't really care about all that stuff over there and. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
We care.
Yeah.
Thank you, Donald.
All right. So again, it's been a long closeout because it's a good podcast and time flew and everything. So it
was a good time.
Enjoy you guys' day and feel free. I mean, I feel like at every podcast I get to know people and I like it because we become like friends live before the people. So please feel free to anything on this side. I'm pretty connected. Because I got good business partners. I'm a good guy. I don't burn bridges. So everybody's they're willing to do business with me. So if anything over here I can help with, just please let me know. And
nice.
Willing to help.
Thank you.
And likewise, if you ever need anything from the West Coast, that's us.
I need. Well, I'm looking to come over there and I want to drive Willow and all those tracks and everything. So my guy Lex is you know Lex.
Yeah.
So Lex he's always on the podcast and everything and So I'll come over there. So if I come there, I'm definitely gonna. I can't come to Cali and not meet you guys.
Yeah.
In person and everything. So, yep. Yeah. So that's it. So again, guys, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and all that good stuff. If you like to listen to the podcast to this point, you didn't subscribe. You just wasted a lot of time. Like as I always say, I'm not gonna pull your arm on it. It's just it's cool. So go back and watch all the videos. Got a lot of stuff there, a lot of old content. I got out of kind of doing the videos, video posting like I used to. I'm not a vlogger. I'm not a YouTuber. I just post on YouTube and I just share my story. So if you're looking to see an unfiltered, real, not doctored up life in Japan, definitely check it out. The podcast is not in chronological order, so you can watch it in any order. I will say, far as quality though, like after 50, I started getting up because I got the studio and everything, and this is episode number 152, so it's not that far along, so you can kind of go back, watch them on the road, and they're all on SoundCloud for the audio versions, and they're downloadable, so you can check it out there as well. So again, just thank you for your time, guys. Thank again Nadine and Benson for their time, and it's gonna be Diane signing off from South Japan, Pinku style, and Nadine and Benson signing out from California. See you guys later. Peace.
Peace.
All right, so one second, guys.